Zero waste life. It's all about reducing, reusing, recycling, right? But also maybe not spending a ton of money on things we don't need. In zero waste terms, refusing. So today, let's talk about some so-called zero waste products that are, well, a complete waste of money. Hey everyone, Amber from Sustainable Jungle here, where we share sustainability tips, tricks, hacks, products, brands, and stories to better our planet. And the zero waste movement has inspired millions of people to try to do just that by rethinking their consumption habits, cutting down on waste, and embracing a more sustainable lifestyle. From reusable straws to biodegradable phone cases, the market is overflowing with all these products that are claiming to be eco-friendly alternatives to everyday essentials. And on the surface, these items may seem like a no-brainer for somebody that's committed to sustainability. After all, who wouldn't want to reduce waste and save the planet? But here's the thing, not everything marketed to be a zero waste product is worth your hard-earned cash, and some of them aren't even really as sustainable as they claim to be. In fact, some of these items I think are downright wasteful, not only in terms of money spent, but also just the resources that go into making them, when a lot of times just an upcycled alternative or something you already have does the job just fine. Today, I'm going to peel back the zero waste packaging to take a closer look at some of these products that don't really live up to their promises, whether it's just items that cost way more than they're worth, maybe things that don't perform as well as their traditional counterparts, or things that are just more wasteful overall. We're gonna talk about them. So, before you reach for that sleek new sustainable gadget or a trendy reusable accessory, let's explore which zero waste products might be better left on the shelf. Spoiler alert, going truly zero waste often doesn't require buying anything new at all. Now, before we jump in, just take a quick second to double check if you are subscribed to our channel and that you have turned on notifications so that you know whenever we post a new video and you don't have to miss anything on our front. Okay, so let's start with my biggest pet peeve of the zero waste products, and that is trash bags that are biodegradable or compostable. Now, these sound awesome, right? But here's the catch. Most of these bags won't actually break down in a landfill. Why? Well, because landfills aren't designed for composting. They're tightly packed, and everything that goes in them is going to be buried under tons and tons of other trash, which means it's going to be starved for oxygen, which essentially prevents these bags and any form of organic material, like food waste, paper, whatever, from breaking down properly. So to get scientific, basically, instead of breaking down aerobically, which is AKA with oxygen, as they would in a composting environment, anything that's made of organic materials like plant-based bags will break down anaerobically in a landfill, which releases methane gas, which is a greenhouse gas that is 25 times more potent than CO2. Now, that's not just bad for the environment, it's also a waste of your money. So let's talk dollars for a second. A box of about 30 biodegradable trash bags can cost anywhere from $10 to $20, depending on the brand. If you compare that to traditional plastic trash bags, which usually cost $6 to $12 for the same amount of bags, that means you're paying almost double the price for something that does not live up to its promise of sustainability and might actually be doing more harm than the product that it's seeking to replace. The smarter move? Well, that's to skip the gimmicks and focus on reducing waste in the first place. And to be honest, most of us can't completely get rid of our garbage. I mean, even hardcore zero wasters still have their trash jar, which they put their little scraps in. Realistically speaking, most of us are still going to have a garbage can, but if you need a trash liner for that, maybe you could use grocery store bags, or just invest in recycled plastic garbage bags. And if you have access to a community composting program or a backyard compost pile, you can obviously significantly reduce the amount of waste that you send to landfills at all just by composting your organic scraps. That's going to hugely decrease the amount of waste that you'll find you put in your garbage can. It really did in our household. And that way you also don't really have to buy into the hype of these biodegradable bags. The next product that I think is a waste of money is reusable paper towels. Now, hear me out, because I know a lot of people talk about these like they are zero waste non-negotiable number one. Sure, the underlying idea is great. No more single-use paper towels, right? But here's the thing. A regular kitchen towel, a dishcloth, or even just old t-shirts that you were otherwise going to throw away do the exact same job, and they do it for way less money. Seriously, why spend $20 or more on a fancy roll of reusable paper towels when a kitchen towel costs a fraction of that and lasts 4 years? Not to mention the fact that you probably already have a bunch of kitchen towels stashed away. Now, I will say that there is one exception here that I do love, and that is Swedish dishcloths, like this guy here. So these are kind of in a different league for me. They are fantastic at absorbing spills, and I love that they're really thin and easy to wring out. So one of these Swedish dishcloths easily lasts me like a year of regular wiping and cleaning, and it can pretty much handle all of my cleaning needs except for some maybe really hardcore scrubbing. So if I combine this with a few scrap t-shirts repurposed into rags, and I pretty much have all the cleaning power that I need without those pricey reusable paper towels. Next on my list is reusable produce bags. So fancy mesh or cotton produce bags, like this guy that I have right here, might seem like a really great way to cut down on single-use plastic at the grocery store, but they often come with a hefty price tag. Typically, you're gonna pay like $20 for a set of like 3 or 4 of these. And on top of that, they're definitely not as durable as you might think they are. Mesh bags are really prone to snagging on things, tearing, wearing, and you just don't really need them. I mean, why do you have to put your produce in a bag? Most things like apples, peppers, or even green beans can just go into maybe a bag that you already have, or even just loose into your shopping cart. I mean, you're going to wash them anyway. And things like bananas and avocados, well, they already have their own natural packaging. See, most stores are actually fine with you putting loose produce directly on your cart or in the conveyor belt. I mean, I've been tossing apples, potatoes, pretty much everything loose in my bag and my cart for years without a single problem. Now, if you really want a bag, you buy a lot of produce, you like to keep things organized, that's fine, but skip the expense and use what you already have first. For example, old pillowcases are actually really great for carrying produce. Or you could take an old t-shirt, again, that you don't have already made into rags, and you can cut it into a reusable shopping bag. Now, I find these t-shirt shopping bags are not really quite durable enough to carry really heavy grocery loads, but they're perfect for produce. Let's talk about compostable phone cases. Look, I love the idea of my phone case breaking down someday. Sounds super eco-friendly, right? But here's the reality. Most of these cases cost at least 2 or 3 times more than a durable plastic or silicone alternative. And the real kicker is that these so-called compostable cases are not home compostable. To be labeled as home compostable, something has to fully break down in a regular backyard composting bin environment within 90 days. Spoiler alert, these cases don't. They are still a hard bioplastic. So to break down properly, they need industrial composting facilities that reach really high temperatures, which, if you live in the US like I do, most people don't have access to because we have a really abysmal composting infrastructure. So unless the brand that you're buying from is going to offer a take-back program, which unfortunately a lot of them don't really right now, you're not really actually helping the environment because there's no proper way for you to even dispose of those phone cases when they do wear out. So instead of spending $50 on a compostable phone case that you're probably not even going to actually compost, just invest in a sturdy, long-lasting case that will protect your phone for years. I mean, that's the whole point of them, is to extend the life of our technology, because that's really sustainable, because otherwise there's not really a great end-of-life outcome for a lot of devices. So my case here, it's nothing fancy. It's not compostable, it's just basic plastic. But I specifically chose it because it has this camera slide, which just adds another layer of protection to my phone. Or better yet, you could even search for secondhand marketplaces for a pre-loved case, because people are upgrading their phones all the time. So especially if you happen to have maybe a slightly older model, you're very likely to find a case that will fit it in a secondhand store. And reducing and reusing this way will always be more eco-friendly than buying something new, compostable or not. Next up is to-go cutlery sets. Let's be honest. Do we really need bamboo cutlery sets when we already have regular reusable cutlery at home in our kitchens? And yeah, sure, the idea sounds really nice for travel or lunches on the go to prevent you from grabbing any single-use plastic cutlery that might be at the restaurant or wherever you're eating at. But here's a wild thought. Just bring a fork from your kitchen drawer. Or you could even be weird like me and actually just vastly prefer eating with chopsticks, so you bring a pair of high-quality chopsticks everywhere you go. And I get the appeal. Bamboo cutlery sets are trendy, they're lightweight, and they look eco-friendly, but we really just don't need to overcomplicate things. Reusable cutlery is reusable cutlery, whether it's bamboo, stainless steel, or a perfectly good fork that you already own. The function is the exact same. And honestly, those bamboo sets, well, they're actually going to wear down faster than good old metal flatware, so especially if you're tossing them in the dishwasher or using them really frequently for harder foods, you're better off just using something metal. Now, let's talk about conditioner bars. Now, I am not saying not to switch to bar-based hair care because I love shampoo bars. Like, that's probably one of my favorite zero-waste swaps that I've ever made. But you know what? you can most likely skip the conditioner bar altogether. So if you take these two bars here, they're from the same brand. This is shampoo, this is conditioner. And if we read the ingredients, they're the exact same, in the exact same order. Literally the only difference between the two is that this conditioner bar has shea butter as the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth from the last ingredient, but everything else is all the same in the same order. And I've actually tested this out. I've used conditioner bars as a shampoo bar to test if there's a performance difference, and I don't notice anything. My hair doesn't look greasier any sooner, none of that. So honestly, I think most conditioner bars are kind of just a gimmick to sell you a second product. Honestly, for the most part, I don't really use conditioner. I mean, I keep my hair pretty short, shoulder length, so my ends really don't get super dry and tangled, so I don't really feel the need to use a deep conditioner. But if you do feel like you need to do something, you can do what I do, which is just an apple cider vinegar rinse once a week. So I just take apple cider vinegar, I put it in the sprayer bottle here about halfway, and then I dilute the other half of it with just water, spray it on my hair, leave it sit for a couple minutes, just as I would do regular conditioner, and then rinse it out. Doesn't leave your hair smelling like vinegar, I promise. And honestly, it leaves my hair seriously so soft after my shower. I haven't felt the need to use conditioner in years, so you should definitely try that out. Save some cash, skip the conditioner bar, and use a shampoo bar as a 2-for-1 solution. If it works, it works. This next one is pretty similar to biodegradable and compostable trash bags, and that is compostable sandwich bags. Now, they're great in theory, right? Because saran wrap and Ziploc baggies are super, super wasteful, especially if you are not washing them and you're literally just using them once and throwing them away. But here's the thing. Compostable sandwich bags are still a single-use item, and in general, we want to avoid single use when we're trying to live zero waste as much as possible. So why would you use a compostable sandwich bag that you still have to throw away and you can't really wash it because they're not as durable as plastic bags, when you can buy a durable, reusable alternative like these silicone bags here? So I've been using these for years now. They're starting to look a little bit dingy, but otherwise they still work great. All right, so another product that if you search zero waste items on like any marketplace, Amazon, whatever, that is pretty much always going to come up is a wooden hairbrush. So let's talk about those. Yes, they look nice and minimalist sitting there on your bathroom counter right next to your potted succulents and all of your other little low waste skincare products, but you likely don't need one. Now, if you need to upgrade anyway, I do recommend these because wooden bristles are actually much better for your scalp and your hair. And let's be honest, this thing feels really nice when I use it. So I know I'm not really doing justice for the whole don't buy it, but here's my argument is that most of us have a perfectly functional hairbrush. So don't upgrade to one of these just because you like the eco-chic look of the wood or because you somehow think that your old plastic brush is bad for the environment. It's not. You can keep using it. If your plastic hairbrush is still working perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with it, don't toss it just to jump on the wooden brush bandwagon. Keep using what you have until it really needs replacing. That's the best way to be sustainable after all. And if you do then need to upgrade, then you can invest in something wooden. Another thing I see all the time on zero waste product pages is the tongue scraper. I got sent this as part of a kit of dental care, but honestly, use your dang toothbrush. Enough said. Next, we have reusable cotton rounds. So these sound like a really great zero waste option because, you know, Q-tips and cotton balls are all single use. They're not that sustainable, but in my opinion, these things really aren't as useful as you think they are. So I have this set and I rarely use it. For the most part, I still pretty much just use my fingers or occasionally a washcloth if I need to apply makeup or maybe take makeup off. Granted, to be fully honest, I don't really wear a lot of makeup, so I might not use these to the extent that somebody who does wear makeup uses them, but personally, I kind of just think they were a waste of money because I rarely ever find myself using them. And even when I do use them, it's kind of just for the sake of using them. It's not because I didn't have another option or my fingers wouldn't have worked. Now, if you do like the concept of having a little reusable pad, I recommend just making your own because they're really not that difficult to make with just fabric scraps or even old clothing scraps you can cut up, put together in a double layer, and then just using like a blanket stitch to stitch together the outsides. Super easy and free. Okay, and the last product that we don't ever really recommend at SJ, but it does come up on lists of zero waste products a lot, and that's going to be a disposable floss pick. So this is just something that I would not call zero waste in any way, because it's compostable, but again, it's not really something that you can compost at home. Most people are still just going to throw it in their trash every single day when they use one because they are single-use products. So it's going to be wasteful, and they also tend to cost a lot more than regular floss picks, and certainly a lot more than just regular dental floss, which can be completely compostable. So unless you have access to industrial composting, it's definitely not worth it. And even if you do, I recommend just sticking with floss. Now, if you do like the pick aspect of it, like the little pointed tip that you can actually pick along your gums and between your teeth, well, you can just get a reusable one of those. So I have this little dental scour tool here. I also have like a little pocket-sized one that I keep in my go bag so I can take it out with me if I go to eat. But this thing works really great. Way cheaper to buy one of these that will last you forever than just one pack of picks, and there's no waste involved. Here's the takeaway. Zero waste is not about buying more zero waste products. It's about rethinking what you actually need. By rethinking, I mean don't overthink it. I mean, use what you have, don't buy what you think you're supposed to have, and don't be tricked by every shiny eco-friendly item that's out there telling you that you need it to live sustainably. So, thank you for watching, everybody. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe button down below, and let me know in the comments what zero waste products you think are a waste. Maybe there's something that you buy and tried out and then you realize they weren't worth it, or maybe it's just something that you have always thought looks silly and completely unnecessary. Let's swap some stories, and until next time, my name is Amber once again, and thank you for joining us here on Sustainable Jungle.